All right, here we are again. It is day 18. I've been trying to figure out a way to count how many days it's been since all this started. So, a lot of ways we could do that. From last Sunday, we had a service, or the last Wednesday, we had a service, but I sort of went with the first Sunday we had to cancel the assembly of the church. So, that takes us back to March 15th. So, going back to March 15th, we've been doing this for 18 days. 18 days. That's a long time. It really is. And it appears as though we've got perhaps even 30 more ahead of us. Just the thought of 48 days not assembling and sort of being in this exile, it's somewhat chilling. But I want to encourage you. Got a little break in the weather today, a little cooler. I'm out back, and a little cooler out here. A little bit of wind today. I think we had a little rain last night. And I thank God for that because my grass is dying. And maybe yours is in the same spot. Isaiah 52:12 is a text I want to consider just really quickly. Isaiah 52, verse number 12. Isaiah 52, verse number 12. Give you a second to turn there. This section is about, Isaiah is talking about the end of the exile, where Israel is in Babylon. They're about to go back to Jerusalem and prepare to rebuild the temple and all these things. And as he's talking to them and encouraging them to prepare, he's calling them to leave aside the worldliness that was there in Babylon, leave aside the pagan practices that many of them had begun to adopt, and to prepare themselves to go back to walk with the Lord. In fact, if you look at verse number 11, Isaiah 52, verse 11, it says, "Depart, depart, go out from there, touch no unclean thing, be clean, you who bear the vessels of the Lord." So there's a command to go, leave. It's time to go. It's time to move on. But as you go out, don't touch any unclean thing. So don't be stained by any of the pagan practices or the pagan worship or the worldliness that's around you. Now, the Apostle Paul actually picks up on that exact verse, and he quotes it later. It's in 2 Corinthians 6:17. And in that context, he applies it to the church, to us. And he says that we're supposed to be called out and separate from the world. And I've talked about that many times, but that's an important distinction. We're not supposed to be like everyone else. We're supposed to be called out and separate and not stained by the sin of the world. Well, look at the very next verse, verse number 12, after he calls them to leave. He gives them really here a word of encouragement. I want to focus on the title for God here. "For you shall not go out with haste, nor go by flight." So this time when they're leaving, it's not going to be like when they left before the Passover or left after the Passover. They're not going to be rushing. They're going to be able to take their time and go out of Babylon and go back for a reason. Here's the reason. "For the Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard." Now the Lord will go before you. That's a reference to the Messiah. And God, the God of Israel, which is a reference to Yahweh, to God the Father. So the Lord, Jesus Christ, will go before you. That's the Lord there. And the God of Israel, that's Yahweh, God the Father, will be your rear guard. And it gives us imagery of two things, guidance and protection. As they go out, they'd have this guidance and protection. They had a version of that when they were wandering in the wilderness with the cloud and the pillar of fire. They had guidance, and they also had guidance and protection. They had guidance and protection. Well, here he was calling them to go out and to not be fearful. They would have this same guidance and protection. And really what I've been thinking about in the last couple of days from this text is the way this title for God, our rear guard, is applicable for us even now as believers in the church. There are a lot of verses that we can consider from the New Testament where God promises to direct us and protect us. Direct us and protect us. I want to share two of them with you that I was thinking about. 2 Timothy 4:18. 2 Timothy 4:18 is a wonderful verse, very helpful in this regard. 2 Timothy 4:18, "The Lord will deliver me from every evil work and preserve me for his heavenly kingdom." The Lord will deliver me from every evil work and preserve me for his heavenly kingdom. And Paul was talking not only about just sin in general in the world, but he was even talking about the plots of Satan or of sinners against him. So here's a promise for protection. And Paul's talked a lot about guidance. Another one that's similar is in 2 Thessalonians 3:3. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse number 3. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse number 3. But the Lord is faithful, who will establish you and guard you from the evil one. The Lord is faithful, who will establish you and will guard you from the evil one. And we have, like I said, a lot of other verses that make the same point. God, he directs us and he protects us. He's our rear guard. And that's true for us today, because it seems like every day that this goes on, again, we're in sort of day 18, if we're counting from March 15th, the news gets more and more incredible and somewhat terrifying to a degree. We hear of higher percentages of cases that are being confirmed and higher rates of death, and it's always being compared with other countries. And there's this fear that begins to set in that in a way is somewhat legitimate to have a concern. But beloved, hear these promises from God. Hear this title from God. He is our rear guard. He is our protector. He guides us, he protects us, and he watches over us. So I hope that's an encouragement to you. It's really been an encouragement to me, thinking of God as my rear guard, as our guide and our protector. Now, two more things, then we'll be done, like yesterday. First, I'm wearing an Atlanta Braves hat. And I said yesterday I'm a fan of the only team that matters. That's the San Francisco Giants. And that's absolutely true. But let me explain the hat. Something else you may not know is that I love to coach. And I coach Little League Baseball in Weston. I actually did that with Pastor Brian, a dear friend of mine. And I love coaching with him. We've done it many, many times. And it's just really a lot of fun. Well, we coach a team right now, the Atlanta Braves. That's our team. And it's 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. And right now the whole league is on hiatus, so we haven't had a chance to see them or coach with them. But they're a lot of fun. But the reason that we are the Braves, and we picked the Braves, is sort of a funny way, but one of the parts of it is because of a young man named Luke Jackson, who's a part of our church. Luke Jackson is a member of our church. He's also a reliever for the Atlanta Braves, and he's a good reliever. In fact, he had 106 strikeouts last year. That's an incredible amount of strikeouts. He's a wonderful, wonderful pitcher. He's a great brother. He's a great believer, and we love him. And so this is sort of shout out to him. But he understands where my loyalties lie. When the Giants are playing the Braves, it's like, Luke who? No, it's the Giants, right? But otherwise, big Luke Jackson fan and a big Braves fan in that way. So I hope that you are following baseball like I am. It's a lot of fun, especially right now, to speculate and think about what's coming. And maybe look forward to going to Miami Marlins game. This last year, Pastor Joe and Brian set up a way for us all to go as a church, and hopefully we'll do that again. Number 3, and I'll be done. The third one is going back to auto maintenance and car stuff. This is something that's interesting to me because I was in that business for many, many years, trained as a mechanic and worked on heavy equipment and a lot of military equipment and weapons, and also on cars. And the thing I want to talk about is this. I had someone ask me the other day this question, and I've heard actually several times, and it regards what's called the cabin air filter in your car. Someone asked me, is that a thing? Is that real? Is that just some sort of a scam? No. The cabin air filter is a thing, and it's real. And it is one of the many maintenance items that are probably recommended to you at different places, most of which I would probably discourage people from doing. But this is one I would highly encourage. Cabin air filter can be a little tricky in some cars to replace. Go onto YouTube and find a video on how to replace it. That can actually be a little pricey. It's a pretty stout filter. It's got a high level filtration, and what it does is it filters that air that's circulating inside your cabin. So I highly recommend you to buy a cabin air filter. Great time, maybe buy them for the cars you have right now while we've got a little time, and put them in the evening. And as always, you can send me an email or call, and I'd be happy to help you. Listen, I want to encourage you during this time. We want to be thriving in this exile, growing. We want to be more like Christ as a result of it. I hope you spend time with your family today. I hope you tell them that you love them. I hope that they see you reading the Bible and see you praying. And may we all in that way grow closer to him. Listen, I love you. Your pastors love you. Your deacons love you. We're praying for you. We're looking forward to seeing you again soon. God bless you. Until next time.